Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be jumping into raids in Black Clover Mobile. They just launched yesterday, so we're going to talk about everything you need to know about raids. We're also going to talk about the exchange store and what items in there are going to be best for you to focus on, as well as a couple of the teams that I'm using. But first, before we jump into this, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Raids just launched yesterday. It's a little different in this game than we've seen in some other games where you don't have to be part of a guild to be in a raid, which is very cool. Everybody has access to the raid. Guild is going to have its own thing, boss battles, things like that. But when we take a look at this raid here is available for 5 days. So it launched yesterday. We have 6 days total for this. That's important to keep in mind because you're only going to be able to get a certain amount of coins per day. So if we go into here and we take a look at this, I love this, by the way. The animation, this boss battle here is a lot of fun. You've got multiple parts. You got part 1 all the way up to part 7. You want to go as high as you can. Right here, I stopped about part 3 because you need 2 teams of 130K in order to get through this. All right, and then part 4, I need 175. I'm not going to be able to make it right now. So when we take a look at what you can get, so for me, maxing out at part 3, I'm going to be able to come in minimum 11 per run, and that's 3 runs per day. So that's what? That's 33 a day, and we've got 5 more days in there, so that's what? So I got 165. That's about as much as I'm going to be able to do. I'll probably take a look and see if I can push 4, but we'll get a little bit deeper in there once I can get my roster a little bit more built up. But right now, part 3, let's go ahead and take a look at the exchange center here. So when we take a look at what's available in here, if I've got 165 and I've got 109 right now total, I'm only going to have 274. So my focus is I'm going to be focusing on the skill upgrade components here. I'm going to clear that out if I can, which I think I might be able to. And then if I have anything extra, I'm going to go for the stamina. I think if you can get far enough in the raid and build up your currency here, the first thing you want to unlock is this right here, this SSR Versatile Mage piece, because this is what's going to allow you to rank up your mages. So definitely go for that if you can. That would be my number 1 thing. And then skills, and then pick up some stamina if you can, if you've got some left over. But I'm not going to have much left over, so I really want to get these skill pieces. Now, these skill pieces are farmable in the game, but it's very limited every single day. So the more you can get, the better. So that's where my focus is. I'm not going to hit the 500. I'll push and I'll see how far I can get, but I don't think I'm going to hit the 500. So in the store, first area of focus would be this Versatile Mage piece, and then your skill components, and then pick up some stamina if you can. All right, now let's take a look at the boss mechanics here. Phase 1. Right here, we got a blue boss, so green beats blue. Take advantage of the rock, paper, scissors as best as you can. This is more of a debuffing phase, but he's also got some extra attacks coming in as well. So 75% chance to inflict disarm, reduce speed, performs an extra attack on an enemy if they don't have a barrier. So maybe take a look at some mages that you might have. That grants barrier, radius is one that comes to mind. Another ability here, performs an extra attack on an enemy that has a buff. Stuns that enemy. Also has an incapacitate as well. There's times where my entire team is stunned. So something to keep in mind when you're going through the battle there. This ability here inflicts incapacitate for 2 turns. And then the special here grants increased speed. Also performs an extra attack as well. Passive here, take a look at this. So grants 50% reduced damage taken once his hit points drops below 50%. Once it gets below 20%, grants an additional 30% reduced damage there. So definitely want to crank up the damage as much as possible. Get a good nuker in there. Asta is one that I have in there, as well as Raya. Raya, he's the one that I put here in phase 1. We'll take a look at my team here in just a second. And then this other passive here grants immunity to status ailments. So it's a pretty fun boss battle. I enjoy it, and I like the mechanics that the boss has. Now we go into phase 2. Take a look at phase 2. This is a red boss, so the more blue, the better. In this one, again, take advantage of the rock, paper, scissors as much as possible. Take a look at the attacks here. Attacks after granting a 100% increased damage dealt. This phase here is all about damage, in my opinion. So increased damage dealt there. Take a look at this ability over here, 75% chance to inflict a burn. So you got some continuous damage there. You've got inflict 25% increased damage taken debuff if on an enemy for 2 turns. And 75% chance to inflict burn on an enemy, dealing continuous damage. So lots of damage here. Special here, deals crit every time you make an attack. And then you can't use this while in exhaustion. So he's got some limitations there as well. Take a look at passive here. Grants Berserk for 2 turns. Applies exhaustion to self for 1 turn for every Berserk that ends. Inflicts 50% increased damage taken while in exhaustion. So something to keep in mind there and try and take advantage of. This passive here grants immunity to status ailments as well. But this is an all-out battle. The teams that I'm using... So I went in a little under with this team here, 121K against the first phase and 134K against the second phase. This worked out pretty well. I have these two together, Raya and Licht. I like their partner mage ability, does quite a bit of damage, a lot of crit there, a lot of damage there overall. I have Mimosa in here. I have her for buffs to reduce damage taken and obviously healing and everything. I've got her down here on this, but I tried to balance my 2 teams as best as possible so that I can do as much damage as possible, keep my team up as much as possible, and burn these 2 bosses down as quickly as I can. This second phase goes much quicker because I've got Asta here, who takes him down all by himself for the most part. Can't wait to get him to that next phase, part 4, to see how well that he does, the higher that he climbs. So, fun boss battle. I enjoy this raid. It's a lot of, well, fun, like I said. And the exchange, you've got some pretty cool stuff in there as well. So just keep an eye on what you can bring at the minimum. We've only got 5 days left, so push as far as you can. All right, that is it. That is raids and what we have today. Very exciting for the first one. I'll burn through my second 2 attempts here. Very excited to see kind of what other types of raids and boss mechanics come into play. But very curious, what are your thoughts on raids? Are you playing it? Who's your best team? Who are you taking down the boss the fastest with? All right, everybody, that's what I had for you. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.